What's up, family? Hey, I want to share a dream with you guys that I just had. Um, in the dream, I don't know where I'm at. I jump off this big black vehicle, and I'm like at a swap meet like area, right? And I'm walking down, and I see this little shop that has um, all these Wakanda pictures, um, like backgrounds. And they would take your face and attach it to one of these pictures. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm a big fan of Black Panther. And so I was like, man, I want one of those. It's like I'm trying to figure out which one I want to get because there's so many of them, right? And so it's like, okay, I want this one right here. And so the guy comes to the window and he's like, what's up? What can I help you? And I was like, yeah, I want this right here. And he says, okay. And he tells me how much it is. And I was like, okay. And so it's like, come around here so we take your picture. They take my picture. And he tells me how long it's going to be before it's ready. It's like, okay, I'll be back. But I definitely want this one right here. He's like, okay. And so the dream shifts. I'm now in this huge black church. Yeah. Don't know why I'm there. Have no clue why I'm there. I'm sitting down. And there's two people in this church that I recognize. And it's weird because I recognize my aunt. My aunt's playing the organ. This is the aunt that raised me. She raised me in church. She's in her 70s now. But in the dream, she was in her 30s. And there's another person I know. There's this young lady named LaShawn. I went to school with LaShawn. And so I'm sitting over here, not by LaShawn, but kind of close proximity. And I've always had this authority issue thing, it's like this is a side note. I don't know why I have this authority issue. Just I hate stupid stuff. I hate foolishness. And I've always been that one. You can't just tell me something just because you tell me something and I'm just going to bow down to that and just accept that and go with it. That's never, ever been me. Even in church, that's never been me. As a kid, and that's why I stayed in trouble. Because, like, I always question everything. And I didn't question it. I just questioned stuff that just didn't make sense to me. It's just foolishness. Don't tell me to do something for no apparent reason, and there's no logic behind it. There's no purpose behind it. Side note. So anyways, I'm sitting in this church. This young lady gets up and she starts talking. The young lady in the congregation gets up, starts talking. And I'm not even paying attention to her. I honestly don't even realize that she's up talking. It's not until I start hearing rumblings of the rest of the congregation that's something that gets my attention. And then, excuse me. And this elderly guy leader gets up in the pulpit, and he goes left. I mean, he's just attacking this young lady. I mean, just brutally attacking this young lady. That's got my attention. Because now I'm on high alert. Because you wrong for that. You wrong for that. But I don't know what she said. But whatever she said, you wrong for what you're doing, And so now I'm like mindful of what's going on, right? And so the congregation gets deadly silent. And the leader goes sits back down. And I'm looking around like, what the heck? because I don't know what she said. But in my mind, I'm thinking, it don't matter what she said. Whatever she said doesn't deserve that type of verbal abuse that she just got. And so this guy that plays the drum, he stood up and he had a Wakanda hat. And I'm like, oh, I like that hat, and he puts it down. And so he starts talking. And I'm paying attention to what he's saying. He's talking about, and he's referencing the things that she said. And he's saying that he agrees with her. And he goes on, right? And there's nothing disrespectful. They're just voicing their opinions, their concerns about the direction of the church. That's all they're doing. They're voicing their concerns about the direction of the church. And the congregation started rumblings again. You could hear it, right? The dissension from what he's saying. A couple of the leaders get up. I don't call them ministers because that's not what a minister is. I'm just going to call them leaders. And they're poor leaders, but they're leaders of this congregation nonetheless. So they get up and they go laugh on this dude. They just going in hard. And he sits down. And everybody has their head. He sits down, he has his head tucked. I'm looking at the young lady that got up and said something first. She has her head bowed. And I'm looking around like, oh, heck no. Nah. And I'm like waiting for somebody else to I'm waiting for the people to stand up and rise up. I'm like, man, we ain't dealing with this. Y'all got us twisted. But ain't nobody said nothing. Everybody's like in complete agreement with this. And I'm like, what the heck? And so I look over at LaShawn and she sees me look at her and she puts her head down. And she's shaking her head. But she won't look at me. And the energy that she gives off is, oh my God, fool, you better not get up and embarrass me and say my name. You better not draw any attention to me. That's the energy that she gave off. That's what I read from her. She didn't say it verbally, but she said it through her energy. And I put my head down and I started smiling, right? And it's like, I can't do this. I'm not that one. I can't do this. And so I raised my hand. I'm not a member of this church. I don't belong here. I don't even know if I have the right to say anything. But you're going to hear what I got to say today. Because I just listened to all this garbage y'all just spewed. And you're going to hear what I got to say. And so this elderly man sitting next to me is like, oh, no, not you too, young man. And I whispered back and said, yes, me too. And the trip is, I don't care what none of y'all think about me. He just put his head down. And I stood up. And the leadership looked at me. They're like, who's this young guy? Who's this guy? We don't know you. That was their energy. That they're looking at each other like, do you recognize him? Do you know him? And it's like, I didn't know none of them people. And none of them knew me. And so I start telling them, I was like, you guys are wrong for that. You guys are dead wrong for that. You guys are stuck in your old, dead, dying ways. And these young people are sitting here trying to tell you guys something, trying to just voice their opinion, their concerns about the direction that this group is going in. And you guys are so stuck in your old-fashioned religious beliefs, you guys can't hear anything. You guys are you people up there, y'all leading these people astray. They can't even get the truth. They can't even hear the word because you guys are full of crap. Because you're so stuck in religion. And I look at the congregation. And it's like, and I can't believe you guys are sitting here accepting this. These old people up here doing this because you guys are allowing them to do it. They only have perceived power because you guys sit back and cower your heads in agreement with them because you don't want to be humiliated, because you don't want to be embarrassed. And so you sit back and let them do it to everybody else. It's like, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not how it's supposed to be. We don't all have to agree with each other. We don't have to agree with each other. But we are not, should not, ever allow somebody, just because you don't agree with them, to get up and put somebody on blast and verbally abuse them because you think you have the power to do so, and because you want to make sure that they get put in check so they will never question authority again. I'm not that guy. I don't care what any of you think about me. I'm not that guy. I'm looking at the congregation. You guys, and I'm hearing rumblings, and I don't know whether they're talking in agreement or disagreement. So it don't matter to me. Because I said what I had to say. And the dream ended. Why am I sharing this? Because many of us sit back and we have family members, religious leaders that are old, that are, and I don't have anything against elderly people. You know, I love elderly people. I work with them. But there has to come a time where you stop allowing people to just dictate policy to you because of their age. Age has absolutely nothing to do with wisdom. We have a lot of old fools in families. Just because you're older than everybody else don't mean you're wiser than everybody else. Just because you walked on this planet longer than everybody else don't mean that you know more than everybody else. Don't mean that you have more insight than everybody else. And if you look at your family, and I look at we got a lot of old fools that nobody should be listening to. You look at the churches, you look at the politicians, there's a lot of old fools up there that shouldn't be leading anything. I understand respect, but respect is earned. You cannot demand respect because of your age. You cannot demand respect just because you've been here for a long time. I will always respect anybody. Just because I respect you as a human being don't mean that I have to respect what you say. It don't mean that I have to respect what you do. We have the power. You have the power in you. You don't need these old folks telling you what to do. If you don't know what you need to do, then okay, yeah, sit back and listen. Learn some things. But question everything. Question everything. Do this resonate with you? Why does it resonate with you? Why don't it resonate with you? And if it don't resonate with you, dismiss it. Meditate on it. Try to figure out why they say this. What do they mean by that? And if they can't give you any legitimate reason other than because I said so, or they're quoting some old manuscripts that they really don't know anything about, man, dismiss that. Dismiss that. You have to understand that you don't just have to accept anything and everything. I love you guys. Peace.